In the 90s, Meg Ryan was the queen of the rom-coms. Then she walked away from it all. So what happened? From her humble start in commercials to her recent shift into directing, Ryan's creative passion never really went away. On November 19, 1961, Susan Jordan and Harry Hyra welcomed Margaret Hyra to the world. Both of Margaret's parents were teachers, though Jordan had been an actor at one time. This became an asset, as she would later help her daughter get involved in commercial work. Eventually, Margaret Hyra changed her name to Meg Ryan when she registered for the Screen Actors Guild in 1978, taking her maternal grandmother's maiden name. Unlike many soon-to-be stars, Ryan didn't display an obvious love for performance. In February 2019, Ryan was asked by the New York Times Magazine if she had grown up wanting to be an actor. She answered, "No, I never had that. I don't feel like, naturally, I'm a performer. I knew I was being given opportunities and that there was certain music I could play as an actor, certain things I could do, and I liked acting. I thought it was fun. But acting was a situation I was navigating." In 1979, Meg Ryan enrolled at the University of Connecticut, where she studied journalism. She began doing television commercials to pay her way through school. Her mom introduced her to the agents who helped her land spots and ads for companies like Burger King, Aim toothpaste, and Campbell's Soup. Eventually, this part-time gig of hers turned into a full-time career. She later attended New York University, and in a 2003 BBC interview, admitted to dropping out with one semester to go. Ryan explained her decision to abruptly leave college, saying, "I was paying my way through school by doing commercials and things like that, and one just overtook the other. I think sometimes your life seems to choose you a little bit, and I feel like that's what happened." After learning the ropes of commercial acting, Ryan got her start on the soap opera As the World Turns. She played Betsy Stewart on the series, which was known for its over-dramatized acting. Ryan even joked about this on Late Night with Conan O'Brien in 2004.
So you could be very dramatic about the oven being at the wrong temperature or something like that.
Ryan starred in more than 30 episodes of the soap opera and appeared in a handful of other shows during her first few years on television, including Charles in Charge. However, it didn't take long for Ryan to build momentum and appear in her first movie. Although it wasn't necessarily a big part, Meg Ryan got a taste of working on a successful movie in 1986 when she played Carol, Goose's wife in Top Gun. It was her first major film and led Ryan to appearances in other films like Armed and Dangerous before she found her calling in romantic comedies. In 1988, Ryan appeared on Austin's KVUE and spoke about how her previous projects had compared to the one she was about to star in with Billy Crystal. She said, "I feel like I've done these different movies, the weight of which aren't on my shoulders, so I get to kind of experiment around. I feel like I have just so much more work to do." In 1989, Ryan showcased her incredible acting chops as the lead character in When Harry Met Sally, marking the first of many rom-coms she would star in. Ryan spoke with City Lights that same year about how much she enjoyed the screenplay, written by Nora Ephron, and that she had a lot of fun making the movie. She quipped, "This time I get to be funny, which is different. This time I'm not the item. I'm somebody who actually participates in the film. It's very exciting." Of course, we all remember the iconic scene in the diner where Sally faked an orgasm to prove to Harry how easily it can be done.
Oh, God! Oh, yes! Yes! Yes!
Unfortunately for Ryan, her kids also know it well. In an August 2023 conversation with Interview magazine, Ryan remarked, "It's funny, my son just called me this morning and he's in New York staying at a hotel that's right across the street from Katz's Deli. He said, you know you can go into that deli and there's an arrow pointing down to the table where you shot that scene." Meg Ryan worked with Tom Hanks for the first time in 1990's Joe vs. the Volcano, and their on-screen chemistry was immediately apparent. They went on to star in a couple more movies together as a lovable rom-com duo, including Sleepless in Seattle and You've Got Mail, which became instant classics. Later, they worked together again on the 2015 war drama Ithaca. Ryan spoke with Sleepless in Seattle's producer, Gary Foster, in 2018 about her love for Hanks and why they've always worked so well together.
He's just so easy. He listens. He roots for other people.
Ryan's roles alongside Hanks served as some of her most celebrated and recognized, keeping her fresh in everyone's minds throughout the 90s. Ryan doesn't have a long roster of A-list exes, but she's been with a few of Hollywood's leading men in her time. Between 1986 and 1987, she dated her Top Gun co-star Anthony Edwards. Soon after, she met Dennis Quaid while they were filming the movie Inner Space together. The following year, Ryan and Quaid worked together again on DOA, and finally, he made the first move by putting his arm around her at a bar. Quaid told Entertainment Weekly in 2001, "It was like a thunderbolt. Both of us felt, this is it. We're going to be together." The movie star couple overcame a lot. as Ryan stood by Quaid's side during his time in rehab for a cocaine addiction. Eventually, in 1991, they decided to tie the knot in an intimate ceremony at the Hotel Bel Air in Los Angeles. Speaking about their wedding, Ryan told the New York Post at the time, "I was laughing and crying at the same time, and I realized I could have never gotten married in front of a whole group of people." After 10 years of marriage, Ryan and Quaid called it quits in 2001. When news of their divorce broke, rumors surfaced over Ryan's movie with Russell Crowe, Proof of Life, and whether it ignited a romance between the two actors, as the co-stars began dating shortly after.
I didn't leave my marriage for Russell Crowe. I left my marriage.
Because your marriage wasn't working.
My marriage was not working.
Despite their love for one another, Quaid told Today in 2018 that the different paths their careers were taking became part of the reason for the split. The actor recalled, "When we met, I was the big deal. Then we would go out on the streets of New York and people would be like, 'Meg, Meg.' I have to admit it, I actually did feel like I disappeared." However, Quaid maintained that his marriage to Ryan was the, quote, "most successful relationship of my life." In 2019, Ryan broke her silence about how the divorce had affected her. She told the New York Times Magazine, "Divorce is hard. Love is hard. All those things were so personal. They weren't for mass consumption. The complexity of a life or a marriage is never going to exist in a headline or a tabloid." After several years of starring in smash hits and instant classics, Meg Ryan shifted her attention toward indie films. One of these was 2007's In the Land of Women. During a promotional interview for the film, Ryan said that she truly enjoyed making the movie because of the incredibly talented people she got to work with, including the film's director, Jonathan Kasdan. She said, "It was really exciting to watch John, who I've known since he was 14 because I worked with his dad on French Kiss. He really is quite a wonderful, one of the best directors I've ever been around." Ryan also starred in Serious Moonlight in 2009, in which she played a wife who kidnaps her husband and holds him hostage. The screenplay for the film was written by Adrian Shelley, who previously wrote the 2007 film Waitress. Speaking with the New York Times that year, Ryan compared Serious Moonlight to Waitress, but noted that it was a little darker and odder. Between 2016 and 2022, Ryan's appearances on the silver screen dried up as she quietly took a step back from the public eye. She told People magazine in 2023, "I took a giant break because I felt like there's just so many other parts of my experience as a human being I wanted to develop. It's nice to think of it as a job and not a lifestyle, and that is a great way of navigating it for me." Ryan was interested in so much more than a film career. She told Glamour, "What I had in the 90s was a ride. It was a kind of moonshot and was really fun, but it's just one ride out of the billions of things you could be interested in."
It's just not good for an artist, for a creative person to have limited life in a way.
Known as the queen of rom-coms for more than 3 decades, Meg Ryan resurfaced from her long hiatus in Hollywood and returned with her own romantic comedy movie. In 2023, she co-wrote and directed What Happens Later. Ryan also starred in the film alongside her on-screen love interest, David Duchovny. While speaking with the Los Angeles Times in 2023, Ryan explained what sets her movie apart from the tropes in other rom-coms. She told the outlet, "I love that they don't have a meet-cute. They had heartbreak. They broke each other's heart, and the happily ever after in this movie is them coming to some sort of terms about being grateful for one another." Understandably, it was a big deal for Ryan to finally make her mark as a director in the genre that made her a star, but she also made a touching tribute to the woman who helped her get to where she is now. What Happens Later was dedicated to the late Nora Ephron, who directed Sleepless in Seattle, You've Got Mail, and had a touching bond with Ryan before she died in 2012.